Fancy a free case of beer from the Northeast? That definitely got your attention. Well, it got mine when Beer52 contacted us. So the clever folks at Beer52 have collaborated with the best breweries across the northeast of England to offer you 8 exclusive beers you won't find anywhere else. I mean, you won't find them in the bottle shops, you won't find them in the supermarkets, and you won't find them from Dodgy Dave down the pub who's hiding them in his coat, sort of thing. So simply go to www.beer52.com/try that and just cover the $5.95 postage to receive your free case of beer now.
Yeah, I think they've played a bit of a blinder, really, because the untold hours I've wasted in supermarkets trying to pick a beer, because there's a lot on offer, and I have a knack of sometimes picking the wrong thing as well. So these are handpicked by experts at Beer52, and they have worked with the breweries to put these together. We've got a really lovely selection we're going to talk about today, but 3 particular highlights for you to stay tuned for. We're talking about Vaux Brewery in Sunderland. They've got a gorgeous pale ale coming up, 2x2. They've got a lovely beer called Revolve, and also Three Brothers Brewing Co.'s Steel River Baltic Porter. So stay tuned for those. What you might have also picked up on that is you sometimes get a bit of a mix in these wonderful cases. So if you are someone who does not particularly favour, for instance, the dark beer, real easy. Just pick the light case, and don't remember, within that little package, you'll also get some tasty snacks as well.
And of course, after listening to the episode we've got ahead of you, you're going to have all the information at your fingertips. But if you're craving even more information about these fantastic breweries and the Northeast thriving beer scene, you'll find it all in the award-winning Ferment magazine, which accompanies every case. So, and even after all of that, if you're still feeling unsatisfied with what you're getting from Beer52, or simply you just want a bit of a break, you can simply pause or cancel at any time with the subscription to fit whatever you need. So that's beer52.com/try that to claim your free case now. That's beer52.com/try that to try all these beers. Right, well, let's get into it then, shall we?
Great idea.
Nice. Hi there, and welcome to the I'll Try That podcast. So this episode this week is in collaboration with Beer52.
Hooray! Collab. We're doing collabs, guys. ITT.
Check us out.
Beer52. The Bombers, I call them. B52.
Yeah, it's only taken us nearly 200 and so episodes, but we're there. Some people would.
What are you talking about? We just dropped our 160.
Oh, 160.
We're right. We're exactly where I thought we'd be on our master plan of growth.
That's it. I like to think you've got a big chart in the background, Joe, that you're colouring in where we are as we go,
it.
And then Beer52 is bang smack in the middle.
Beer52, episode 6161. Beer52, tick. That's where we are. Episode 350, we go to the moon. Tick.
So we go to the moon.
Yeah. A beer from space. That's what we're going to do in our 350th episode.
Surely someone's going to be brewing a beer in space soon.
They're actually, I've already given a cat out of the bag. There is already a beer that's been brewed with hops that have been sent up into space.
Oh,
yes.
That's cool.
That is right. There was a beer that did that. But anyway, less of that. Let's talk about back to the task at hand, Beer52.
So the lovely folks at Beer52 have sent us over their most recent crate, Angels of the North, so basically celebrating all northern breweries.
How weird.
Yeah, and basically...
yes, more of that.
More of that one.
That's enough.
So basically, me and the lads, I've got Matt, and of course I've got Joe with me this evening.
I'll read pets.
That's it. But
I'll wear the tune.
I can promise they will not speak like that for the whole episode.
Yeah, we're sorry.
I don't think we'll...
I'm going to channel my inner Yorkshireman.
I like that.
Somewhere.
Yeah. Somewhere. Drink some Yorkshire tea.
No, brew York. Brew York.
Sorry. Get on, Jack. Go on. We'll let you get your sentence out.
We're going to be trying all of the beers that come in the box. We're not all going to be trying all 8 because, as we've heard in previous episodes, that might go downhill a bit for us. I also don't recommend, if you're drinking along with us, I don't recommend drinking all 8 in possibly the half an hour period that we're recording this. Okay? I'm just, disclaimer, just throwing that out there.
I was going to put it out there. We may even, allow the listeners to luxuriate in a bumper, maybe 35-minute episode, or perhaps even longer, depending on how we get into it.
With the way we've started this intro, probably going to be an hour and a half.
But what are you snacking, Barbara, by any chance?
I'm snacking so hard. I've actually had dinner tonight, but snack option 1 is getting absolutely decimated.
Is that which one did you go for? Did you go for the brave sea salt and vinegar chunky chickpeas or the onion bhaji
I went
things?
the sea salt and vinegar chickpeas, and I actually went for the one that I thought, when I'm having dinner, I always like to savour the last morsel to be like my favourite bite of the meal. So I went for the food that, I'll be honest, I thought I wasn't going to enjoy as much. But these are just absolutely flown down me.
They've both got. I must admit, in preparation for said episode, I demolished both of my snacks at lunchtime today. Because I was like, "Oh, those look very tasty," and they were just sitting here waiting for me to review later this evening, and I couldn't help myself. I ended up eating them.
It's a very clever idea that they put the sea salt and vinegar, because like they are delicious, but I am definitely getting a thirst on. Because they've just so I think it's just a smart marketing ploy.
I would say, what is the combination of the best beer snacks? It's going to be a level of salt, so that it makes you want to drink more. But they're kind of different and interesting enough. You know, you don't normally just go and buy like pork scratchings, for example, or these ones, the crunchy chickpeas. I love the fact that they've got something quite different with each of their snacks. Like, they're not the usual like pub classics. They're something a bit different, and they just go down so well with their beers.
You say that I brought some pork scratchings yesterday just from the shop on my way home.
When you become an adult, it's like a thing you can do.
Yeah, it's great.
That is true. I did forget that is within my power to actually buy pork scratchings outside of the pub.
I checked. There's no like law or anything. You can like set your own pork scratching intake limit.
This is dangerous.
It is a good idea.
You know I'm going to be all over the pork scratching.
Yeah. Sometimes I wish there were people to tell me no, but
I thought that's why you do the podcast with us. No, Drabbers, no.
We are your angels of your conscience, you know. So this nicely segues into Angels of the North. Should we talk about what beers we've got?
Well, I thought we should say about Beer52, our most gracious benefactors on this particular episode. So,
before you get into anything too poignant and interesting,
guilty.
I've never understood where the name Beer52 comes from. I've always I'm aware of the name, obviously, having been a long-time subscriber of the Beer52 box. But Beer52, where's that even come? Because you don't get 52 beers in your cases. You get 8 in multiples of 4.
I had 2 like semi-assumed understandings, and I'm hoping one of them's right. But I don't mind having being set straight.
I think the fact that you've got 2 assumed makes it seem that
they can't both be
true.
Right, that's got to be said.
Yeah, that's true.
Beer, and to be honest, I wondered if maybe they'd started out doing it as a weekly thing, and then it was 52 weeks per year, so you get Beer 52.
But it doesn't come out weekly.
Well,
it
exactly.
Comes out monthly.
So exactly, it would have to be
Beer 12 doesn't have the same ring to it, does it?
Someone would have taken Beer 365 as well. Excuse me. The other one that I think I just alluded to a minute ago as well, I just thought it sounded like B-52 bombers. It also used to be my favourite shot once upon a time. A B-52.
Isn't that like a shot with like...
Oh, yeah.
What's in a B-52 shot, isn't it?
Isn't a B-52 shot a medical thing that's basically full of vitamins that you're meant to have after a surgery to replenish
vitamin
all
B-52
of your...
could
yeah.
It could be, Trav.
Yeah. If that is, I've been doing it wrong, I'll be honest. I had them as... I can't really remember what the bottom one was, but I think it was like Kahlua. And then
I was going to say Kahlua sprung to mind.
Bailey's on top. And then, if you do them like we used to do in Portugal, a little bit of absinthe on top. Oh. And you light the absinthe, and then you stick a straw into the bottom, and then you drink the shot like that, and then it means you get a little pop in your mouth at the end.
Or
that sounds vile.
I'm not going to disagree.
So your 2 guesses of where the name comes from is either they don't understand how the days and the weeks of the months and the years work, or they've named it after a really terrible sounding shot. Is your 2 guesses for this?
I figured it.
Tell me I'm right.
Well, I was going to say maybe the guys who founded the company had a load of B-52 shots, and once you've had a few drinks, you come up with all of these great ideas, but they actually followed through with it, and then they named it after the B-52 shot.
Well, I think that's a very good answer, but it's not the one we're looking for.
That is intriguing. Well, I'd love to say I could dispel both of those theories, but actually I can't. Basically, what we got from Beer52 is the fact that this Beer52 was founded by James Brown when he was on a
James
motorcycle
Brown.
trip with. Yeah, it's James Brown. He's really missed out on not getting into music, hasn't he?
One of his lesser known achievements, I'd say.
Yeah.
I drink beer.
Papa's got a brand new. I was ill prepared for these puns.
Yeah.
If I'd had another 5 or 10 minutes, I'd have had some killer ones in there.
I'll keep going on where Beer52 started, and maybe you'll have a bit more puns to come out of. So when he was out with his dad in doing a motorcycle road trip through Belgium, stopping at a load of different breweries, that's where he found his love for craft beer, according to their website. And then he set out to visit a new country every month in search of the best beers. Maybe doesn't live the same life that the majority of us are, where we can't visit different countries every month. And then he got a friend Fraser to join on as well, so James Taylor is the CMO of Beer52, and Fraser Doherty is the co-founder. But yeah, doesn't explain at all where the Beer52 name comes from. So I want to say it's absolutely to do with the shots.
Yep,
I think it's to do with the shots.
And Joe, may I say, I'm sick and tired of you besmirching those of us who do travel as part of their work.
That's good.
I have really had it up to here. I'm holding up an onion bhaji snack. They're particularly high at the moment.
Well, given the Mr. Travel geography expert in the room, do you want to maybe ground us on Angels of the North and the types of breweries that we're going to be talking about?
Yeah, so I've got a real selection, actually. Sorry, I'm still working on my onion bhajis, which are very Moorish, I must say. So, who have we got? Let's do a quick run through, because I think each of us are going to try a few different ones. We have got Full Circle. Sorry, I'm talking to the microphone, perhaps. We have got Full Circle, Brew York, Northern Monk, classic, Vo. There's a collaboration beer, which is, I've been calling Nebs, which is the Northeast Brewing Showcase. And we have got 2x2. And we've got, is it Tooth and Claw? Has someone got a Tooth and Claw?
Yeah, I've got Tooth and Claw.
So we're covering, there's a lot around Newcastle, Tyne and Weir, and Brew York. Can you guess where those guys are from?
We've got Leeds in this showcase. We've got Harrogate and York, obviously. We've got Middlesbrough being showcased here. And we're going all the way up to Newcastle, as you said. There's quite a few there, and Allendale as well. So yeah, we really are hitting all the Northeast has to offer when it comes to breweries and all the sites as well.
Excellent. Well, should we get into it and crack one open, start talking about it and that sort of thing?
Well, I was going to say, yeah, it's been 10 minutes and we haven't really talked about beer that much. So, yeah. So I've started off on Northern Monk's Eternal Session IPA, kicking in at, I would say, a light 4.1%. And we've spoken about Northern Monk before. I believe they started brewing. I think it was in probably the basement. It was always a basement or a shipping container, but I can't remember which one Northern Monk was.
The basement. Yeah, Verdant was the shipping container.
Yeah, and I remember I remember reading about that. I think they did deliveries in the back of their mum's car to start with to get themselves going and all of that sort of stuff. And I know they've recently moved in. I think they've got a couple of tap rooms and a couple of breweries knocking on now.
Nice.
And once again, I remember really enjoying Northern Monk. I've not drunken them. I've not drunk them since we did them on the podcast, but it's nice to revisit them. And once again, they've gone in with another. It's light, it's refreshing, it's nice. It is an IPA. It's a very good IPA. And of course, they've got Stoic, nice kind of metallic-y blue can that it's come in. And of course, they've gone for is it the Monk? They've got the hooded Monk. Of course, it's Monk. It's called Northern Monk. What am I going on about? So yeah, they've got the Monk signal, and of course, another beautiful landscape going across. So yeah, if you're looking for something light, a nice session IPA that you can definitely get on board with, yeah, definitely sit for the Eternal with Northern Monk.
Interesting development for those who have, and I mean, with this, we have documented extensively so far that this is a collaboration. We're talking about the Beer52 box. We've also talked about the snacks. There is one component of the Beer52 box we haven't talked about so far, which is, gentlemen,
the Ferment
magazine. And so, first article in there actually is talking a little bit about Northern Monk and that sort of thing. Eternal that you're drinking, Rich, has been, by the sounds of things, a bit of a stalwart for them for a really long time.
Okay.
And actually is now I want to make this not sound too severe, but it's almost like it's been retired from their core range.
Oh, really?
So they have had some, so I understand they're still going to do Eternal, but it is one that I think Northern Monk have actually just had their 10th birthday, or they're going into their 10th year. So, which is also, I think they mentioned in the article, a bit of a milestone. And actually, at the moment, there's probably going to be loads of really good craft breweries getting into that being around for 10 years sort of stage. Eternal's been going for them for a while and has been wildly popular. However, basically, it sounds as though, excuse me again, Northern Monk have actually kind of had their arms twisted into, I say arms twisted, by popular demand. They're moving their Northern Lager into their cores range, and he's taking Eternal's place, basically.
Hey, guys, you know what I'm hearing? Lager's back. It's back.
Excellent news for the lager fans.
You know what? That's the first I've heard of it, but I'm glad lager's coming back to
though,
it. Yeah.
A Northern Monk lager. I'm very intrigued to try it.
It's already, so it's called Northern Lager, and I think the point is everyone's been going,
Makes sense.
Can only get this.
Monk lager sounds a bit weaker, doesn't it?
Yeah. You wouldn't mess with that monk. Not that, to be honest, you shouldn't be messing with any monks, really. But but this is the point. Everyone's been saying, so Northern Monk, it will come in there. So they basically a couple of yearly releases for the Northern Lager. And everyone's been going, so sometimes in a keg, sometimes in a can, but on and off, like not consistently produced. And everyone's gone, we really like Northern Lager. Can we have it on the regular? So that's what's coming in instead, which, don't want to disappoint anyone who's thinking about having Eternal, but that's coming out of their core range. Joe.
Do you know what this also speaks of a brewery who are changing? They're not just sticking to the resting on their laurels. They're changing things. They're innovating, and like that speaks wonders to that. But also, there's a really interesting piece in the Ferment magazine where they talk about changing styles and the fact that they're on top of all the latest trends. So they've recently done a collab of a table beer with Rafa, the Belgian cycle brand. You guys might, if you're, fitness folks will know about this. So they've recently done a collab with them, which is a table beer, because obviously that's lower ABV. That's suitable for if you're out for a cycle, you might want to stop and have one of these beers. So it just sounds spot on, doesn't it? They're always innovating and trying new things. That. And we've talked about how much table beers are getting in there, like in that small beer space as well, is starting to become more and more trendy.
Kind of like ultimately a classical example. Well, any exponent of the craft beer scene, or people who are into craft beer, I don't want to speak for all of you. You can have your own opinion, but are ultimately people who are up for something new, or are, I want to have something a little bit different from what they were used to for a very, very long time. So it's kind of like going, oh yeah, let's keep doing that in that case.
Can I go next?
You can go next.
Yeah,
that's
quite
all right.
You can go next if you want me.
You have to remind us what you're drinking.
I've been itching to talk about Magic Rock Brewing's Loophole DDH Pale Ale.
Probably get that scene too.
I've got a cream for that itch, actually.
Oh, you stole my joke.
Oh, sorry.
Great minds snack alike. And why I've been itching to talk about it is because it's got a jazzy can. It's Magic Rock Brewing, who we featured on the podcast before, who are doing some phenomenal stuff and have exploded in popularity. But also because I got through it so quickly, because it was the first beer that touched my lips and it just went down so fast. It's delicious. It's 4.5%, so it's not going to knock your socks off. And it's suitable for vegans, because that's what you need nowadays in a beer. It's got none of those fish guts that some of these breweries still use for some reason. Magic Rock. We love what's happening coming from Magic Rock. And if I'm quite honest, with my ignorance, I had no idea they were from the Northeast. So this is great. The fact that we're being reintroduced to northern breweries in this way. But yeah, so they're kind of like between the kind of the Leeds, York, Harrogate area, basically, is where Magic Rock are based. I love it. What are you on, Bobs?
I was going to say, you stole my segue, because I was going to go from talking about Drabbers' Northern Monk to a relatively newer brewery called Full Circle. I've got Full Circle. It's already gone. Kicks in the Sun is their beer that's to come into the Beer 52 Angels of the North case. Really lovely. And actually, I think I said to you guys that I was quite up for, when I'm going to try a couple, I kind of like to not get my lager done, but this is a Hell's, and I think I want to kind of move up my hop profile. Although I've kind of come unstuck a little bit because it's a little bit punchier. It's a 5.2%, and it's really nice actually. It's a real good stepping stone, this beer, because it's a Hell's, but it's got far more chutzpah than any Hell's I've had for a long time. It's
put a few hairs on your chest.
Yeah, big time. There is a much more going on there, a stronger, bolder taste profile, which I would bang up for. To that end, you are not probably going to drink as much as you might of a normal Hell's lager. I try to think of, is it a Paulaner or something like that? Those German kind of sessionable, often served in bigger bottles, but beautiful, yeah. And actually, it took me nicely by surprise. Maybe that 5.2% on the can should have given me a bit of a steer as to this wasn't going to be your run of the mill, maybe low 4% sort of Hell's, but yeah. Lots going on there, and enjoying every bit of it. I mean, these are, if you'll bear with me, of course, it's Hallertau traditional hops, and I was going to give you some more detail, and I've completely forgotten it.
Can I just, while Barbara's looking, can I just say I absolutely love the half and half design on the can. So the can currently has a bit of a jazzy, multicoloured, I believe the trainers mixed in with a bit of yellow, pink and blue, purple.
Yeah, it's all very funky, isn't it?
Yeah. But then the other side is completely white, which I just really enjoy the contrast. If I was to see this on the why can't I think what the shelves? That's what I was going to say. If I was to see this on the shelves, I went completely blank then. If I see this on the shelves, my eye is 100% drawn to it.
It's so disruptive for the category, isn't it? No one else is doing something like this, and that's what intrigued me so much. Oh, disruptive. Love it. Love it.
In just at the moment in life, if you're not being a disruptor, you've just messed up, haven't you?
Although, you know what kind of bugs me ever so slightly is the fact that they're called Full Circle Brew Co, and yet they've got a semicircle on their on their logo.
Yeah, I was getting my head around that,
which I know is quite cool and edgy, but it's also like, but I want to see a full circle. You've called yourself a full circle.
Amazingly, though, it's still possible to enjoy the beer despite that, absolute nightmare.
I know, they're dead to me. I'm done. I'm out.
They're a very interesting story, though, Full Circle. I mean, so their first release, their first beers that went out was on the day that lockdown started in 2020. So it was a bit like, Full Circle, liking the produce, but clearly timing not your forte. I'm sure that they were sort of well aware of that already. They also were hoping to achieve a little bit more. This is also, I'm gleaning this a little bit from Ferment. They were hoping to export a little bit just at the time that Brexit kicked in. And then also,
these guys have absolutely they've hit some rotten luck by the sound of things.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're doing so well is amazing, actually.
But so I think the point is that actually just once they actually got the benefit was actually they weren't in pubs when it came to lockdown, so they were trying to dish cans out. They didn't have that disconnect where they were relying on the pubs to serve the beer. They were just in cans. So obviously there were the challenges to get it out, but ever since then, won Best IPA at SIBA Business Awards in 2022. The reviews are all fantastic. Of course, try for yourselves. But on the basis of Kicks in the Sun, I quite like that they've sort of, for me, it's not a real gap. I'm sure there are other good options out there, but to me, that's a bit of a gap in the market. It will help make me probably keep my eyes out for a slightly more punchy Hell's, because I do like a Hell's, but also I'm sometimes shy away from it when I sort of think I know what to expect from one, and then one challenges my perceptions, kind of like this has done.
My next one that I have picked out is by 2x2 Brewing, and it is the Revolve Pale Ale, which is pretty nice. And the thing that's drawn me to wanting to try this one is the can art itself is absolutely stunning. It's done.
I couldn't agree more, Drabs. I've never seen anything like it.
That's what I was thinking. It looks like there is a person being sucked into a vortex, which is probably the word revolve, spinning round sort of thing. It's done the art.
See what you did there.
The artwork done by La Huevo Art. I'm definitely going to go and take a look at them and see what they got. But This, once again, I picked the 2 pale ales, apparently. Or no, I had a session IPA was the last one.
What's it called, Drabs? This one?
It's called Revolve Pale Ale.
Because also this, and I really get your point about the art, but also, don't you find it looks really similar to what's the other one you're drinking, Joe? Because I'm afraid I've put it back in the fridge.
The Jellyfish Nebula by Tooth and Claw. It does in the fact that it's got a really cool pattern, but it's not in what the illustration is depicting. It looks very different.
Might have been that I looked at it a little bit quickly, to be honest. I thought someone might have been copying someone else's homework.
No, this. I can attest to what Drabbers is talking about by the 2x2. Something very different, very unique about their art, and it looks like it's obviously like a special collab with this artist or whoever La Huevo art is. So we'd love to find out a bit more about that. But I just love the fact that they've got on the side of the can written down: store cool, drink fresh, unfined and unfiltered. I've never heard the word unfined before, if I'm quite honest.
I've only ever had one beer in the past that claimed to be unfined.
Right.
I can't remember the brewery. I think it was a really, really small independent in Bristol. And I remember serving it in a pub, and I remember someone being like, this was, certainly from my perspective, craft was still pretty new and pretty crafty. And they were like, there's something wrong with that. I was like, no, the hops are unfined. Don't draw me on a lengthy
So it's not the fact that it's not the fact that they're in some sort of financial penalty.
No, yeah, no. It was actually just a very, very brief review. Fine.
Yeah.
I think it's to do with whether the hops are unfined, and I'm afraid it's beyond me to give you an extensive technical definition.
But
on
if they can't find the hops, how do they make the beer?
Oh,
go home.
It hurts so good. Yeah, go to bed.
Shall I nicely segue onto the Tooth and Claw's Jellyfish Nebula, as you alluded to?
But just as a little side note, before you do segue, Joe, if the head brewer of 2x2 isn't called Noah, I'm going to be furious. Put it out there. Now that I've done my little joke, you can carry on.
While I talk about Tooth and Claw, can someone quickly Google who the head brewer of 2x2 is?
Travis is on it.
Because if it is Noah, that would be brilliant.
All right, then, guys, I've just got to stop us there because I've just got to remind the listeners, predominantly because we're already receiving these excellent cases from Beer52. But I've got to remind the listeners that Beer52 have set up an exclusive offer for our listeners to get the same case that we are currently drinking from the Northeast. So all they have to do is simply go to www.beer52.com/try that and cover the $5.95 postage to receive your free case right now. $5.95, absolutely nothing. You're paying $5.95 for a pint in a pub right now. So you might as well get $5.95 and get 8 beers straight to your door. So we've been talking, there's a lot of dark beers in this case here, but if you don't like the dark beers, simply choose the light case, and don't forget you get a couple of tasty snacks, and you can do all of that online. And we're looking at the snacks now. There's some, was it onion bhaji flavoured crisps? I'm absolutely there for that. But you can also learn about the fantastic breweries and the Northeast thriving beer scene in the award-winning Ferment magazine. I'm going to be taking mine up to bed later to have a bit of a peruse, just so I can bring some more excellent knowledge to our podcast instead of me Googling it 5 minutes before we start recording. And of course, even after all of that, you are still unsatisfied, you can simply pause and cancel at any time. So just one more time, that's www.beer52.com/try that to claim your free case now. That's beer52.com/try that. Get online, get ordering.
So Tooth and Claw, I'm drinking their Jellyfish Nebula. As you were alluding to earlier on, Barb's, it's got a really funky design of, basically it's an illustration like cartoony-esque of like a load of jellyfish on it. It's really cool, very eye-catching. I've not come across Tooth and Claw before, much to my own dismay, because they are lauded with so many different awards. So this Jellyfish Nebula that I'm trying actually won the World Beer Awards Silver in 2021, and it's on their permanent keg roster. So it is, one of their core beers. Basically, they stand by this. And I'm just looking at their on their website, and you've got their head brewer Ryan who's very gleefully standing across the pumps, looking very happy to serve you a beer. So these are definitely a bunch of folk that like making beer, and I can say from this Tooth and Claw, the first few sips, if I'm quite honest, kind of came across a little bit peppery, which I'm sure was not the intention, but it was quite. I just went from the Magic Rock DDH Pale onto this Jellyfish Nebula Pale Ale, and ABVs are about the same, 4.5 to 4.6, but the taste palette wise is very different, and I love that. The fact that you can make a pale ale taste so very different is testament to these brewers and doing their own thing. So this Tooth and Claw Jellyfish Nebula Pale Ale, very different to what I've just had, and thoroughly enjoying it especially after a couple of sips as well. It's going down very smoothly.
Lovely. I'm trying to think. Do we know?
Very nice.
Do we know some other beers of theirs? I've got to say, is there a new one on me?
No, I've never come across them, and I'm looking on their website. They've got a Wolf Pilsner, which sounds quite fun. They've a Wolf Pilsner.
Love that.
And they've got a Squeeze Please as well, which I can't actually read what exactly it is. I think it's called a Le Mans Ghost. Oh, it's a ghost. Okay, so that's quite interesting. They've got a One Eye IPA, and then they do those all in cans. So yeah, interesting.
I do like the sound of a Wolf Pilsner. I'm not going to lie. Once you're naming beers after animals, it's definitely a win.
I'm going to go for an Owl Milk Stout before long, I think.
Ow.
I'm also intrigued because they actually have, it looks to be a collab beer with Motorhead.
Oh,
that's cool.
Motorhead.
The band Motorhead seem to be doing a collab with this. They're called Tooth and Claw, but you find them on CameronsBrewery.com. And so it's brewed by Cameron. So Cameron's Brewery must be the holding company / the bigger brewer. Tooth and Claw seem to be like a brand. Let's talk about craft.
I can just think, because the last beer I drank, which was in collaboration with a band, was with the Blossoms, which is
expensive.
Was that the one where it was like 2 beers for 30 quid?
Yeah, it was a lot of money. I'm not going to lie, but that was quite smooth. So Motorhead is a lot intenser music than the Blossoms. So does that mean we're going to be expecting more of an intense beer or a darker stout because it's a bit more heavy and full on?
Could be. They've got an American Pale Ale that's a 5%, and they've got a Pilsner which is 4.3%. So no stouts or anything like that.
Okay.
But interesting though, I think this one's called Overkill, which is their Pilsner, and then their American Pale Ale is called Road Crew. So again, it's very cool.
Yeah,
I like
those.
But anyway, that's Cameron's, which is obviously some sort of link with Tooth and Claw, which is quite interesting.
Well, I'm going to take over here, if that's all right. I'm also now. I've moved on to Vaux, who are a Sunderland brewery.
What, Vaux? A deer? A female deer?
That's Doe. You blithering idiot. Sorry, I don't know what came over me then.
I really like to think that they sing that when they come into work each morning, but with the change of lyric.
Vaux, a beer, a big gold beer.
It is a big gold beer. Look at that beauty.
Oh, it's gorgeous looking.
Can anyone tell me which film the writing reminds you of?
I can tell you. I know exactly.
Yeah,
baby. Yeah, baby. It's a
it is very Austin Powers-esque, isn't it? That's brilliant.
Lovely soft yellow kind of sunrisey colour on the can, haven't we? And
it looks tasty from looking at it.
It does look tasty.
You just want to hug this can and just be like, I'm safe now. I feel warm and cozy
And also
inside.
having moved on from what I was explaining earlier was quite a strong, robust Hells. This did just like kind of... I was obviously like, I had a long day, and this beer just put its arm around me, like, come on, let's just have a little, Citra.
Do you know what you need, Barbs? A little bit of Citra.
Sit down here, take your shoes off, let me pour you one of these. We'll have a little bite to eat later on, and we haven't got work tomorrow. Don't worry about a thing. So I enjoyed this is really nice. I think that's what I've got to come in early days and say. This is just like achingly juicy, or it's like overflowing with wonderfulness. I think it's this is a Centennial and Citra hop, so it's got that kind of bold, tropical, fruity kind of, just lovely, very drinkable. I want to just be friends with this beer and have it come round all the time. Voa from Sunderland. We're still talking in the northeast. That is our destination for the duration. I think this is our only one from Sunderland. So if anyone wants to show off that they know people from Sunderland are Mackhams and not Geordies, then there you go. There's your opportunity. But 5.3%. I think that probably. The taste does not betray the 5.3% that it's the punch that it's packing, but wonderful. I mean, served particularly cold as well. The condensation on the can had me licking my lip before I even finished my last one. I like this a lot. The brewery have actually been around something like 200 odd years.
Really?
Way longer than you would expect as a craft. Basically, they relaunched in 2019 and sort of started having a crack at the craft thing. On this basis, I would say please do continue, because this is really nice. But they've got a bit of a mix as well. So there's a hazy shade of Strata is the other one. So obviously they're talking about their hops that are going in, but this is a hazy shade of Citra. So I presume it is predominantly Citra ahead of Centennial, though Centennial comes up first on the list of ingredients. 1 second. It's really nice. It's not going to look out of place. You almost would want to know what craft beers are becoming, as I've mentioned earlier on, a little bit more prevalent on supermarket shelves. What's keeping this one off those shelves? I'm not sure. It's real good.
Did you like that one, Barbs?
I do. I feel like to be honest, I did like.
I feel like that was a love letter to Vo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because me really, I don't feel. Let's talk about me for a minute. I'm probably the least crafty fan of the three of us. Is that possibly fair to say?
You are the only.
I'm the only camera member. I like a warm, foaming pint of nut brown ale, and I'm feeling very at home with these two. So. Here we are.
Delicious. It's hitting the
spot
for you.
Please laugh at me more. Should we move on?
Shall I talk about our next and final beer?
You'll be talking about our penultimate. I'm going to steal the show.
You're going to see us out, are you, Barbara?
You're going to bring it home.
Thank you.
So the last beer I'm going to talk about in great levels of detail is is by Brew York. Obviously, we like a Brew York.
Brew York.
We had the. Barbara, what was the beer we had from them? The Guilo.
Yeah, I didn't want to be uncut. I wasn't mad about that. If you actually remember, that's when my dad came in and swore about it.
Yes. I do remember. It was a very polarizing beer.
It was, should we say, an acquired taste. The peanut butter jam, roly-poly.
Something or other. And that was pretty different kind of stuff.
Shall we say.
But since then, obviously, we've seen them at the London Craft Beer Festival a couple of times. We have tried Brew York beers. We know they make some amazing brews. And I can safely say this Sevens Seas with rye, West Coast Pale, 6%. It's a bit of an ABV boy. Is spot on. So, bit of a pop quiz for you boys. Name the 7C hops that make up this beer.
I can tell you. We could play it like arrogance, couldn't we? I can name 3 of them.
Yeah, Barbara can name 3 of those. Go on then, Drabs. You can't read the back of the can. Put the can down.
We see you. Just because the listeners can't see you doesn't mean that we
cheater.
I can confidently name 1. So.
Oh, come on. You've just heard me talk about 2 in the last beer I had.
I was talked about 2.
You weren't listening to me. That's what's happened.
I just blank out when you talk.
Okay, but you have experienced some of these hops before, so
I get filled with a deep sense of rage when you talk, Travis.
Why does in the effort of moving this on and keeping things civil, and making sure this isn't our last ever episode as a trio?
I'm going solo.
I'm going to start my ASMR podcast.
Go on. Okay, I can get 3. I bet if I think about it, I could do more.
I could probably do. I reckon I can do 3.
Okay, let drivers have the 3, and then you go after that, Barbs.
All right, Calypso.
Yeah.
Citra.
Yeah.
Cascade. Is that Cascade?
Nice. You've nailed your 3.
Now we're 3.
Okay. Go on then, carry on then,
I was
Bob.
going to say Centennial.
Yeah.
That's another one. That's a good one.
And between the two, we've got 4, and actually 2 of the ones
Yeah.
I was going to have those.
Okay.
Can I? Oh, I need more time.
I'll give you a clue. He sailed the ocean blue.
Columbus.
There you go. Nailed it. Could sound like a helicopter.
Chinook. Yeah.
Yes.
I got that before you said helicopter.
I was literally just going to make the sound of a helicopter, which was...
Okay, last clue.
That's
Last
a
clue.
Chinook, that is.
Oh, I love wearing this. It feels really soft.
Cashmere.
Yes, there you go. Nailed it.
So I was the expression on my face there was because I thought that was spelled with a K. But yeah, I didn't.
There you go. The hop is spelt with a C. More like the money. Cashmere.
Splendid.
And I always say, if that's anything to go by, this beer is absolute fire. It's delicious. Like the fact that they've jammed 7 different varieties of sea-level hops in there, that is an arrogance to knowing how your hop ratios works, and they've absolutely nailed it in this one.
I also really enjoyed that the boat is sailing on a sea of hops.
Which makes sense, because what you're hitting here is a real hoppy vibe.
Yeah.
So if you like your hoppy beers, I mean, God, you might as well. You better go for your seven C's with rye from Brew York, because this is a very hoppy beer.
I'm going to put it out there. If you told me the same designer had done the Northern Monk can and the Brew York can, I would believe you.
Well, it could be the same agency. A lot of these breweries sometimes use the same design agency to do their can nut illustrations when they get to a certain size, so it could be. I don't know that for a fact. I'd have to look into it a bit more.
No, I like it though. I love a boat.
It's great. It's really good.
You do love a boat. It's true.
I do love a boat.
You're up for your boaty beers, right? Bring us home then, Barbara, with the last beer.
Right. Well, I think it's appropriately enough because we're doing the Angel of the North, courtesy of Beer52. I nearly dropped it. That could have been bad. Can you see? I'm calling it the Nebs. This is.
I'm going to open the Nebs as well.
There you go. That's gonna, the big finale. This Nebs refers to collaborative beer in the Northeast Brewing Showcase. They do a little festival, and actually, I think the big appeal of the festival is that it's kind of small. And they run this in the Northeast, obviously. I believe it's actually in Newcastle. And this is just a bit of a collaboration. So you read the back of the can, you can see Northern Monk, Alpha Delta, Vo, Tooth and Claw, Full Circle Brewing, Brew York. And I've gotten 2 attached to that I've actually forgotten to talk about the actual type of beer.
Well, this is brewed exclusively for Beer52, right?
Oh, yes. Sorry, it is the one. Yeah, exactly. But the idea is, I'm sure it mentions it in Ferment that this is, the taste of the festival beer as well.
Okay.
So this is, now that I've had a chance to check myself on it, dry hopped farmhouse ale.
Have we heard of a farmhouse ale before?
I was racking my brains when I read this the first time, and I was thinking, possibly not. I don't think it's a phrase that's in like real regular use.
Yeah.
To be quite honest, that's pretty much attested to for the fact that you've just said it. I can't think of us talking about farmhouse ales before.
No, yeah.
I think you can tell it's dry hopped. I would say. I'm a little bit pleased because also, this is 5%, and there's probably been, I think, the lowest we've had from this case is maybe 4.1, 4.2. We've got, and actually, I think it's quite a nice balanced case that way because I think the highest about 6%. And actually, the other thing, if you do read through Ferment, I think a couple of the breweries allude to the fact that listening to what people have been after of late, they have dialed it down a little bit. They're not trying to. They're not producing these beers that, to be honest, do wipe you out a little bit. The high 6s and the 7s, and so it's almost seems like this is the product of that. Is again a lovely, much like the 2 I've tried before, which actually have been north of 5%. Now that I come to realize it, it's not too over the top. I wouldn't even ever describe it as sessionable, but you could have. It's not so full on that you have 2 and are probably going to go, right, okay, I need to move on to something else. You could probably go for a few, basically. I wanted to pour this one out to see the colour because I think it's a little bit darker, but it's really tasty, very bold. Not as I think I'm a little bit getting the contrast of Vaux, not quite as juicy, not quite as tropical fruits, but really solid beer anyway.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, looking at the Ferment magazine, having not attended said event, it doesn't look like too many people from when they took the photos were at that event. But I wonder if maybe the photographer took them quite early on or something, or maybe late in the day. It's interesting. Maybe they haven't been doing it for very long, but it certainly seems like it's got an amazing showcase of breweries there, and the beer is, as we've reviewed on this episode, absolute standout. There's amazing brewers and beers to offer. So it just feels like maybe this event just needs a bit more marketing, which I guess is why they're doing this whole thing with Beer52. And I'm happy to shout that out because there are some amazing brewers that are at this Northeast Brewers Showcase. And so if you're anywhere in the area / would very happily travel to the Northeast, as we would be as well, let's definitely get up there because this has got an amazing showcase of amazing beers in the local area. So yeah, I mean, hats off for this. I would certainly be, after trying these beers, some new ones on me and some old favourites of breweries that I absolutely adore, knowing they're all populated in the Northeast region and close together, knowing there's a showcase of all these brewers all in one place, it's very appealing to get up there and to go and experience that.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Again, I mean, it just sounds like I'm pretty much almost my role in this podcast. I could have actually just read you guys Ferment magazine in many ways, but it's funny that actually, particularly, there's a prevalence of good breweries in this part of the world, and actually, this is alluded to in there that also there's a really nice collaborative spirit across them. I think possibly a little bit to what you were just saying then, Josh. I kind of think they were saying that the festival being quite small has proved to be really successful. But it really nice that they've come together to put together this beer, which was designed a little bit for, the summer kind of festival, and that they've all want to get together and actually, I suppose there's use one of those business terms we're talking about, a little bit of synergy, all people working together and create a nice little culture around beer in this part of the world. Hats off to them.
So I guess to wrap this up, thank you very much, Beer52, for reaching out to us to talk about and to receive your fantastic Angels of the North case. You'll hear it in the outro. You've heard it in the mid-roll, and you've heard it before of how you can get your hands on the case yourself for only the postage, and I highly recommend it from our end. I think all of these beers have been a tasty drop. From the 4 I've had in this recording session, each one have been fantastic and very different in each one. Even though I've had a couple of pale ales here, they've tasted very different. And I'm, after Barbara's love letter to Vaux, I'm very excited to try that Citra. And of course, I love nothing better than tucking into a Northern Monk. So excited to try that one. And
you couldn't help yourself, could you? Little rascal.
So yeah, from my end, I'm very excited and pleased that we got this opportunity to talk about Angels of the North, because I didn't actually realise, excuse my ignorance, but there were a couple of these breweries I had no idea were in the Northeast. So very grateful of having that knowledge now on me. And that's all we have time for this week's episode of the I'll Try That podcast. And so from me, Joe,
Rich,
Barbara,
and Simo,
goodbye. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram,
Twitter,
I'll try that podcast.com,
and watch us on YouTube.
Goodbye now.